Right, welcome to the Jonathan Ross Show. Let's have a look and see who's in my green room tonight. It's a great lineup. We have... He's a comedian, a writer, an actor, an aesthete, a bibliophile, a raconteur, a wit, a master of 7 languages, and he sure plays a mean pinball. Mr. Stephen Fry, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. Hello. Stephen, lovely to see you again. Thank you so much for coming. Good to be here. A vision in corduroy. Also on the show, one of America's biggest comedians, and by biggest, I mean most popular, Mr. Kevin Hart, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. Hey, Kevin. Glad to have you here. I'm a big fan of Kevin Hart. We are also joined by a true sporting legend, one of England's greatest ever cricketers, and now the nation's favourite purveyor of fish and chips. He'll tell us all about that later. It's Andrew Flintoff, also known as Freddie Flintoff. I called you Andrew then. And we have the brilliant BAFTA and Oscar-nominated star of The Theory of Everything, a wonderful romantic new movie out right now. It is the beautiful Felicity Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Felicity. Lovely to see you too. That's a lineup. What a great lineup. Just before we get to the chat, a couple of things. We all like a drink, of course, within reason. But I think you know you've had too much when this sort of thing happens. A student in Oxford sent his friend this text. He's out on the town having a great night. He wants to know who his friends are, so he sends him this text asking, "Are you in town?" OK? He had so much to drink that by the time he got home later and looked at his phone, he thought the text had been sent to him, so he replied to his own text saying, "No, mate, I'm home now." Now, that's a good start, OK? It gets much worse. Later that night, he broke up with himself and then sent himself a sexy selfie. This happens more often than you think. There's another example right now. Someone texted this, "I wasn't that drunk." So obviously a night after a big night out, they've texted their friend, "I wasn't that drunk." To which came the reply, "Dude, you asked your girlfriend if she was single." And I assume she is now. And here's my favourite one. This one says, "I wasn't that drunk, I drove myself home." Back came the reply from his friend, "No, I drove you home while you drove with a paper plate." Obviously, we can't reveal where that text from because it might embarrass Mr. Flintoff. No, what's about it? You must have sent a few in your time, don't you, Freddie?
I have, actually, yeah. On tour once, I thought I was texting the missus, and I said, like, "Oh, I can't wait to see you." And I got a reply saying, "Why?" And I thought I was a bit rich, and I've been away for, like, 2 months. And then I started getting a bit fruity with my text, and I was actually texting one of my mates.
Wow.
Our relationship has changed since then.
Change for the better. It's opened a whole new world to you.
Quite literally.
Stephen, do you have an embarrassing text story? Because you're a big texter. I mean, people might think that, but you text a lot, don't you?
I do text a lot. I texted this about 3 years ago, and I still can't live down the shame. I sent someone a text. I used the conditional instead of the future tense. Oh. And unlike a tweet, you can't delete it, so it's there forever. What can I do?
Wow, that's one of the most shameful stories I've ever heard in my life, and I feel your pain. I'll do one more story for you. In Washington, D.C., a barber has come up with a great punishment for naughty boys, OK? He offers this to parents. If they've got a kid who's been acting out or misbehaving in some way, he says, "Bring them to me, and I will give them an embarrassing old man's haircut," right? I mean, a haircut like an 80-year-old might have. I'm going to show you. Here's one of the badly behaved tykes that was brought into him. Look, now, he looks sweet enough. He looks like butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. He was misbehaving. His parents took him in. This is true. This is the haircut he came home with. Boom! Although it backfired on the parents, because with that haircut, he went out and he bought beer, he bought cigarettes, he went to a club. We wondered what our guests might look like after being taken to that particular barber, given the older style. So, first of all, Felicity, I hope you don't mind we've done you. You're looking lovely now, the natural brunette. There you go. So you're still looking great, just gone a little bit grey. Kevin, are you ready for this one?
Yes, I'm ready.
There, wow! I think you're still rocking that look, though, because you've got a nice round head. It looks good. It looks
what
good.
What are you talking about? I look 86.
You're not that far off that haircut right now, let's be honest.
Well, I thought the little boy was me when you first showed the picture. That's why I got scared.
OK, and we have Freddie, of course. Have a look at Freddie. Whoa!
My word.
Your Royal Highness, how is baby George? And then, Stephen, do you want to see you? I think we've found, if ever they want to bring back the dance quiz bullseye, we have found the perfect host if you have this haircut. Check this out. Holy
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Of course, they didn't do a picture of me, but we have this. That's a picture... That's a picture they took of me during rehearsal before I put the hair back on. That's not good. Someone actually groaned out loud then. What was that about? That's a fine figure of a middle-aged man. Should we get my first guest out, ladies and gentlemen? Why don't we? I feel clever already. You know, just sitting next to him can raise your IQ. It is, of course, Mr. Stephen Fry.
Very funny.
I don't know, horrible to see.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, Stephen.
Bless you.
So lovely to have you back here. Thank you so much for coming.
Nice to be here. Really is.
Well, you know, we have so much to talk about because in between the last time I interviewed you...
I've kept brilliantly out of the news lately, which is the most important thing.
You've been in for so many different stories, but of course, we'll talk about this later. First of all, congratulations, because Stephen, of course, is a newlywed, as I'm sure you know.
Yes,
Isn't that just the loveliest thing?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Such lovely news. I'm so pleased with you. We'll talk a bit about that afterwards.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
But I want to start with this because that wasn't why we invited you on. We invited you on because tomorrow night on BBC One at 9 p.m, once again, Stephen Fry is back hosting our biggest award show, the BAFTAs.
Yes, that's right.
And this is your 10th time.
Amazingly, it is, yeah. Wow. Time's just passed very, very, very quickly.
And do you still get nervous at all?
Yeah, well, whenever I stop getting nervous, I get a kind of round of nervousness thing. Why aren't you nervous? For heaven's sake, be nervous. And then I get almost sick with fear. There have been some great moments over the years where I have been relaxed by some very big names. On an early one, I remember saying, because I thought, how do I introduce this man? He's such a hero. So I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to pinch myself because I can't believe I'm going to say the words, please welcome Mr. Dustin Hoffman. And he came on and he pinched me in the arse really hard. Wow. So there, I saved you having to pinch yourself.
Cheeky little Dustin.
Yeah, and I spent the rest of the time thinking, I've been pinched by Dorothy Michaels from Tootsie. I've been pinched by Benjamin from The Graduate. Yeah. I've been pinched by Rizzo Rizzo from Midnight Cowboy.
Let me ask you something. Your wedding.
Yes.
Getting married. I've met Stephen's husband, Elliot. What a charming and lovely young man. You only got married just over a month ago.
3 weeks ago, exactly, today. 3 weeks today. Yeah, it was a Saturday, January the 17th, in Dereham, East Dereham in Norfolk. We chose it, it's a small market town. They call it the heart of Norfolk. That's its little slogan. And a wonderful, wonderful registrar had taken it upon herself with a great deal of pride that a lot of Norfolk people have, because it's the county where Sandringham House is and the royal family live there, and Kate and William now live in Norfolk, and so Norfolk people are very proud of the fact that they let them be. They don't, you know, they don't overfuss, and they certainly don't help the press. They always direct the press in the wrong direction. You know, if they see somebody saying, which way is Sandringham, they point in the opposite direction. And so they decided that our wedding should be private, and the wonderful Linda put a false date into the computer in case it was being hacked or in case there was a mole within the municipal borough of... and, you know, it meant that Elliot and I were able to be conjoined without any photographers or journalists, which was really nice, because...
Well, because otherwise they would have been all over that shit.
Well, yeah, they were a bit... They did camp out when they discovered that we were engaged. They camped out outside our London place and Elliot's parents' place, and they were doorstepping neighbours of Elliot's parents. And there was an 87-year-old woman that they doorstepped who burst into tears because she didn't know what she was supposed to say. And that was very unkind. My parents are more used to dealing with it because they've had 30 years of
I imagine
Stephen.
Your parents have had nothing but that on and off for 30 years, I imagine.
Oh, what I owe them, I can't tell you. But anyway, it was great that the wedding
Well, how
was
lovely, because it is something which should be as private as you care for it to be, without any doubt.
No, as you see, cake and everything. Sorry, I go all gloopy about it. It's ridiculous. Oh. Everybody marries all the time. I mean, not everybody, but lots and lots of people do.
But you know what? But a lot of people
yeah,
don't. They don't find that.
Don't.
And I didn't know whether you ever would, because I know you've been in relationships as everyone has, but you obviously hadn't found the right person until now.
Well, it was only last summer, of course, that Her Majesty the Queen gave the royal assent. Now, I don't know whether this is true, but if there's an Italian saying, se non è vero è ben trovato. If it's not true, it's well-founded.
You don't need to translate that
I'm
for
sorry,
us.
I know.
We all know that.
But there's a story that when the Queen signed the royal assent for the Equal Marriages Act, allowing gay people to marry for the first time, she put it down and said, well, who'd have thought 62 years ago, when I came to the throne, that I would be signing something like this. Isn't it wonderful? So I was very thrilled to hear that.
That's wonderful, isn't it? That's wonderful. Well, she's a very...
Yeah, I have to say, yeah. I, without overdoing it, I grew up in an age when people were routinely being arrested for any kind of intimate congress that might have taken place, including in private sometimes. And to grow up in that era and then find oneself, marrying and having taxi drivers and girls in at the cash desk at the supermarket saying, "Oh, can I shake your hand? I'm so happy for you," is just so moving. I find it wonderful. And I'm so proud to live in a country where that seems to be the absolute majority view. And
can I ask you, who proposed? Did you propose to him or he proposed?
I did propose. It was a restaurant here in London. I kind of knew that he would say yes. We'd danced around the subject. And I bought a ring and waited for him to pop off to the loo and put the ring on the tine, the prongs of a fork. And so that he would see it, but we started to eat. You see, I thought that would be a charming...
Yeah.
And of course he came and he started chatting and playing with the fork, and I thought, for God's sake, look at the fork. You don't really ever look at a fork, do you?
This is when you realise the flaw in your plan.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, he's going to pick it up and the ring is going to fly off into that lady's soup. And I'm going to have to go, "Excuse me, do you mind if I just rummage in your soup?" But fortunately, he just in time caught sight of it, and it was a very teary and splendid moment.
Would have been even worse if he'd have swallowed it, had even the Heimlich manoeuvre.
That would have been excellent.
OK, before we move on with the show, and I'd like you to stick around if you wouldn't mind.
Happily.
One of the things I miss seeing you do, I love seeing you on TV. I'm looking forward to the BAFTAs very much. In particular, I'm looking forward to your opening speech. I always laugh long and hard at the jokes. Oh. But I kind of do miss seeing you doing silly sketches.
Oh.
And you and Hugh, was it Grant or Laurie? I can't remember.
One or the other.
One or the other.
Whatever happened to him? I think he became a hospital porter and then a busker. Oh, my goodness.
There you are.
Oh.
Do you miss doing that? Do you miss those days?
In this very studio, we did that programme, Saturday Live. Yes, we do miss it. I see him, as often as possible, either in America or over here. And we just fit right back into our old modes of speech and silliness, and it's divine.
But is there a chance, do you think that you two will click back together and give us something together again?
Never say never. We talk about it, and who knows, maybe, yeah. I think the thing we'd most like to do, because it's somehow just more direct and fun than recording sketches in the studio, is to go on the road and play theatres and things. Not necessarily stadiums, exactly, but...
Huge venues, mega domes. Yeah. But you know what? I'm going to end on a clip, this part of the show, because I like to see this, and I think... I was amazed, because I watched on Saturday Live with Hugh, and I used to think, God, these guys are so confident. But you weren't as confident. I believe you were pretty nervous, and in this sketch in particular, I remember seeing this, loving this sketch. I can't believe to think, and you're singing in this.
Oh, no, not that one, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, yes. Well, it's extraordinary. I regarded myself as having painted myself into a corner because, as the name implies, it was live and it was on Saturday. And by Thursday, we'd had this idea for a sketch. And then I suddenly said to Hugh, "Look, Hugh, this is absurd. I can't do this. It involves me having to sing." He said, "Oh, you can sing." I said, "No, I can't. I really, really can't sing. You know I can't." He said, "We can't rewrite it. You just do it, sing." I said, "But I'm going to... No, I'll run away. I can't." He said, "Well, why don't you see a hypnotist or something?" So I thought, "Oh, OK." So I went, in those days, to the Yellow Pages. I went to the Yellow Pages, and there was a hypnotist in central London. I made an appointment, and he was pleasingly Hungarian. That was a really pleasant accent to listen to. And he told me to sit down, and he said, "What is your problem?" And I explained that I was doing a television show and that I needed to be able to sing. And he said, when do you sing? What is the words you hear that must make you... What's the cue? What is your cue?" And I said, "Well, Hugh says to me, 'Hit it, bitch.'" "Hit it, bitch." "Yes, hit it, bitch." "Hit it, beach." "Yes, hit it, bitch." OK, all right. To cut a long story short, he said to me, "When you hear the words, 'Kick it, bitch,' from your friend, you will sing with great confidence as if you are in a shower or in a bath and there's no one listening." And so we did the show, and I seemed to be able to sing. But, of course, if you ask me to sing now, you'll have to get Hugh on the phone and get him to say, hit it, bitch, or kick it, bitch, or whatever the cue was.
We don't have to do that, but we will see that moment. The amount of thought and work that must have gone into this then for you to do this. But you pulled it off. This is from way back when. This is Saturday Live, back when it was Fry and Laurie. Look at this.
Well, it wasn't very good, was it? Beg your pardon. I mean, you didn't play it very well.
Oh, didn't I?
Well, not really, no.
No, well, it's not very surprising. Schlepper's Bridal Nocturne's not really my kind of music.
Isn't it?
No.
What is your kind of music?
This is my kind of music. Play it.
What is it?
I said play it, bitch.
Oh.
You've done me great psychic damage.
Now listen to me very carefully. You will forget we saw this clip. Stephen's going to stay with us, but ladies and gentlemen, join me in saying thank you to the one and only Mr. Stephen Fry.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Stephen.
Such a joy, as always. Thank you. OK, still to come here on the show, top US stand-up comedian Mr. Kevin Hart, Ash's hero Freddie Flintoff, and Oscar-nominated Hollywood star Felicity Jones. So join me after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get my next guest right out of here. He's one of the most popular stand-up comedians in the United States. His last 3 movies have all occupied the #1 slot at the US box office. Here he is. He's the very funny Mr. Kevin Hart. Great to have you here, Kevin. Very lovely to have you on the show.
I was hoping that these couches weren't too tall.
No.
I didn't want my feet to be swinging. So
well, let me get that out of the way then, because you're not the tallest guest we have on the show this evening.
No, I mean, look, I call it petite. I'm a petite individual.
Yeah.
But I'm confident.
Yeah.
I'm very confident. You hear my voice? That makes up for my size.
Yeah.
I'm very confident.
Do you think, do people... I don't know quite how to put this, but I like a small man.
Okay. All right.
Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't.
Well,
no.
Some of my friends are small guys, and they kind of bring a different kind of energy into any gathering, I've noticed.
We're good people. I mean, I think that's the best way. Wait, first of all, why are we talking like small people are a different type of people?
But I notice you're not... I mean, because you're a fit guy, clearly.
Very fit.
You're in the...
Very fit. I want to make sure we get that way. Very fit.
Well, in Hollywood, you have to be. You have to be, don't you?
You don't have to be. I consider myself very fit.
Okay.
I'm what you call a sex symbol.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You mean... So you're what you call a sex symbol, but with the inverted commas?
I had to do that just in case somebody wanted to question it. Oh, I did this. Okay, I gave you this.
I love your stand-up comedy. I love your movies as well. We'll talk about your new movie and movie career, but you came over in 2012 and you sold out the O2.
Yes, I did.
In London.
Yes, I did.
You sold out Wembley in 2014.
Yes, I did.
And I noticed that, in common with some other stand-up comedians, you talk a lot about your personal life, about growing up, about your family now. And in particular, I was wondering, you know, the childhood you had struck me as being a difficult childhood, as a tough childhood.
Not difficult to the point where I didn't have. What my surroundings were is what I was used to. You know, that's all I knew. So I think growing up, my mom, I was raised by a single mother. Dad was on drugs, in and out of jail, not around too much. But my mom made sure that me and my brother had.
What was the drugs your dad had the problem with?
Name one. He did them all.
Yeah,
Were you angry with him?
No, man, I don't care. I'm black. We don't give a shit. I don't care. You shrug your shoulders. It's not something that I cried. What was Dad doing? No, my dad's fine now. When I got to a point where I could afford to do it, I got my dad help, put him in a institution where, you know, it was 24-hour care. Now my dad's sober. And now my dad, basically, here's how I see it. My dad was supposed to do drugs so I could see what not to do. Does that make sense?
Well, I can see where you're going with that. So you had a kind of very negative example put right in front of you.
I had a point-blank view of what drugs can do to an individual.
Yeah. You're a father yourself now because you've got 2 children?
I am, 2 kids.
Well, let me ask you this then, because you do swear a lot on stage.
I do.
But
I get away with it. It's like my voice is small enough to where it's not offensive.
Yeah, well, I've used that excuse as well. It doesn't always work.
No, because you're tall. You can't do the same thing.
Is that what it is?
Watch this. Come on, man. Stop being a bitch.
Okay.
Look at that. See that? It's small. Come on, don't be a bitch.
Yeah.
Now, if I say, like, you don't be a bitch. Whoa, hey, buddy. You see that? Yeah, it's different.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
Although, who's going to be scared of this? But I know, but your mum, and I don't know how much it's true, I get the feeling she was pretty down on you swearing.
Yes, yes. My mom is very much into church, very religious. And, you know, my mom never came to see me perform. My mom has never, she passed away 6 and a half years ago. My mom has never seen me perform. And the reason why my mom never wanted to come to a show is because of the swearing, of the alcohol, of smoke in the air. She just didn't want to be around.
The whole environment, not just your performance.
Just the environment. It had nothing to do with just me, just the environment in general.
Real old school church.
She felt, it wasn't conducive to what she wanted to be around.
When you were a kid, though, did she ever let you swear? Were there times when you were allowed to use the curse word?
No, my mom was so strict. So strict. So strict. My mom beat me one time. My mom was the mom that whatever was near her is what she beat me with. Like, I got beat with a lampshade. It didn't even hurt. It didn't even hurt. The fact that she felt that was a weapon at the time, like she grabbed my arm until she found something and grabbed the lampshade. I just remember looking at her like, this don't hurt, but you're messing up the lampshade. She was weak. My mom was not strong. None of the whoopings hurt, so I just had to act like it hurt. Stop, please don't. Oh, you're hurting me. This isn't good.
I bet she knew you were faking. She didn't really want to hurt you. That's what's going on.
She used to get out of breath.
Yeah.
You are gonna cry.
Okay, Kevin has a new movie out. It's The Wedding Ringer, and it opens on the 20th of February.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and now this is got a great concept, a great premise behind it. Explain to us the story, because I can see what attracted you. What's the deal with The Wedding Ringer?
This movie is this is my first rated R comedy. It's a movie about a guy, Josh Gad, who plays a character named Doug. Doug has basically lied himself into a corner. Doug is getting married, and he's told his wife that he has a best man, and he also has groomsmen. He's a couple days away from the wedding, and his wife is pressuring him to get these people to come to the meetings. Yeah. With his back against the wall, he doesn't know what else to do because these people don't exist. He's forced to come to a guy like myself. I play a guy named Jimmy Callahan. I provide a business for those who lack friends. Whatever you need, I can provide it for the right price. He needs a best man, no problem, I can do it. He also needs 7 groomsmen. Yeah. This movie is about the road to friendship between these 2 guys and trying to create this. It's a bromance. Yeah. And trying to create this lie. But the fun and silliness and the edgy humor that we really take on in this movie along the way is unbelievable. I think this is my best work to date.
Well, it takes some chances, for sure. There's a few scenes you think, wow, I'm amazed they got away with that. I'm thinking of the scene with the dog.
Oh, yeah, no, there's a scene with the dog. There's a scene with the dog where, without giving up the movie, I can...
How do we talk about this thing?
Well, I can talk about it without saying too much. There's a bachelor party that I throw for Doug, and... Doug, we want to do something wild for him because he's a guy, he's a prude, hasn't done much. So we have a dog, and we decide to blindfold Doug and put peanut butter on Doug's area, okay? And we say, okay, we're going to give you a gift, and we tie him up, and we get the dog to come in and start licking the peanut butter off his area, and he thinks it's a girl, and we unfold it, and he sees it as a dog. The dog then panics, bites down on the area. And it becomes a crazy situation because now we got to get it off.
I don't see how that could become a crazy situation.
I'm going to tell you, what was crazy was on the day, the dog didn't want to walk to the area where he had to do the business. So
he didn't really do the business.
No, it was a prosthetic. Oh. But there was a guy whose job was to like hold the prosthetic and get the dog. So like in between takes, you see this guy like, come on, man. He's got the thing like near his forehead, talking to the dog, and everybody's just looking like this can't be good. Like,
Did you?
If the dog had a voice, the dog was like, I swear this is the last time that I'm taking any gigs like this. No more gigs like this. I told my agent. Very
Okay, well,
comfortable.
that's still in the movie, but not quite like that. Okay, this is the Wedding Ringer, and it's out the 20th of February. Look at this.
I'm not dancing. It is my job to make you look good on your wedding day. Now, I need you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Come on.
Teach me how to Dougie. 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 All my women love me. All my women love me. All my women love me. You ain't messing with my Dougie. Teach me how to 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 Dougie.
There you go, that's the Wedding Ringer. So the speeches, have you been... I imagine you would be a dream person to be best man, Stephen.
Well, yeah, I was best man for my colleague Hugh Laurie and for my brother. That was bad because I had an asthma attack. And that's not the ideal place to be, is it?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But as many asthmatics will know, one of the things, if you do get serious asthma, that you're encouraged to do is have an adrenaline syringe about your, in your car glove compartment or somewhere similar, and just because it's intramuscular, you just give yourself a stab. And of course, the fear of having to make a speech is a great surge of adrenaline. So I did get through it, but it was. There was a time when I was just outside the tent thinking. I was sinking to the ground, wheezing, unable to breathe, thinking, how do I get my words of love out to my brother?
If you're the bride, you are pissed. On my day? He's gonna almost die on my day?
Listen, you don't want the best man to stop the speech and get a syringe out and inject himself. Kevin, I'm so thrilled you came on the show. I'm genuinely a big
happy,
fan.
man.
Even bigger fan now you've been on. Kevin, you're going to stay with us?
Yes, I'll stay,
Kevin Hart,
man.
ladies and gentlemen, he's going to stick around. Still to come after this break, we have the Oscar-nominated Felicity Jones and Ashley's cricketing legend, Freddie Flintoff. Don't go away. Welcome back. Let's get my next guest out here. He restored the nation's sporting pride by helping win the Ashes twice. He's just back from the Big Bash in Australia and is about to embark on his strangest TV adventure yet. Will you please welcome Freddie Flintoff, ladies and gentlemen. You're looking super fit. Wow. He's a big man. Freddie, I forget what a big hunk of man you are, and you're looking in great shape. You must be working out. You've changed. I mean, I know you're back in the sport, but you look leaner than I've seen you before.
Yeah, I've come back. I was playing cricket out in Australia for 6 weeks for Brisbane. And the thing is now, like, cricketers are quite fit. He's not like my day.
Because, hang on, because you retired from cricket, didn't you?
Yeah, I retired in 2009.
And that was for injury, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, my knees are full of metal and my ankles are shot at, but somehow managed to play in the Big Bash out in Australia, which was great.
So the new guys are a different kind of breed to the guys you played with back in the day?
Oh, yeah. They don't drink, they don't do anything. It's quite boring. And in the dressing room was a whole new experience. You sat there and I got my top off and my belly's hanging over my trousers. And lads in front of you, they've got abs and muscles and things. I was in the toilets getting changed on my own. It was awful. I was
But you've gone out there, you've done it, you've played well, haven't you?
I was terrible though. I was.
I heard you did okay.
I did all right in one game.
Okay.
And the thing was, my mind was still willing, but my body was just knackered.
Oh, well, we've all been there.
Yeah.
But, so what is the Big Bash? It's a different sort of cricket to the cricket we have over here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. No, it's quite strange because I played for Brisbane and there was 30,000 people watching each game. Like, over here, you're playing in front of, one man and his dog at Leicester.
So it's more of a showbiz event than British cricket?
Yes and no. I think they take it quite serious. And I think my main contribution to the game was when I was playing, I got microphoned up, so I commentated whilst I was playing.
So, hold it, so you're talking through the match as you're playing the game?
So I'm batting and I'm talking and saying what I'm going to try and do. And I'm in the field doing it. And then I ended up, bizarrely, in one game in front of 30,000, I ended up singing, not Suspicious Man, In the Ghetto, on the boundary.
The Elvis song?
Yeah, they said, like, come on, what have you got? And they said, well, you can, like, sing Elvis. And I said, nah, not really. And I got bullied into it, so I did, like, a rendition whilst I was fielding.
So you're fielding? Because I suppose
in
sometimes...
a professional cricket match, if there is such a thing.
So I suppose there's kind of a long period when you're fielding when you're not doing much, you're just waiting.
Yeah.
So you say, what's your Elvis like?
He's average. He's
Would
average.
to have a tiny bit of it?
Well, if Stephen says, kick me, bitch.
Yeah, okay. Kick me, bitch.
Really?
Yeah.
As the snow flies on a cold and grey Chicago morning, a poor little baby child is born.
It's like, for a minute, I thought he was back here with us.
First of all, he knew he could sing. Like the
That's like Elvis with
yeah,
a
but you
Preston
knew
accent.
you were good at it. But really, come on, guy.
Yeah.
If he says it, maybe the right and the golden.
You can't reveal all the tricks of show business, Kevin. Let me ask you, well, you're not... Am I right in thinking that you're on the wagon now? Because you went back to cricket, you stopped drinking? Because you used to be quite a big boy for the lash, didn't you?
Yeah.
OK.
I was probably a binge drinker, but I had about 6 binges a week.
I'll tell you a story about Freddie Flintoff.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Stephen. Bloody hell.
There. On the bus.
Oh, yeah.
Was that after the first and
2005.
second Ashes?
That was 2005.
Okay.
It was
2005, and Trafalgar Square, I was being interviewed by Jeff Lawson and various other people, waiting for this bus to arrive, and then I was told to go out and open the door, and out tumbled Dean inside, had been waving to the crowd. Last of all, having pulled an all-nighter, I believe, at the Russell Hotel. Is that right?
Yep. It was an all-night, yeah.
Yep. Wearing sunglasses, Freddie totters off the platform of the bus and says, oh, mate, I'd make a crap celebrity. The sweetest line I'd ever heard.
Yeah, I pulled it off, haven't I?
Believe it or not, we actually have a clip of him getting on this bus. So this was the celebration tour. This was the big public celebration after winning the Ashes, is that right?
Yeah, we'd not won it for a few years, and we managed to win. And I celebrated, and before I knew it, it was 8 o'clock in the morning, and we had to go on an open-top bus tour of London. Which I don't remember a great deal about.
OK, well, we see if this jogs your memory at all. This is Freddie enjoying one of the greatest moments in any young sporting man's life. You just won the Ashes for the first time in who knows how many years.
Yeah.
And this is him celebrating in grand style.
Their frontman behaving like any self-respecting rock star should. Let's hope he can remember at least some of it tomorrow.
Finally. Well, there you see.
Oh, man. Who'd you growl at the end?
I think that was a bird.
Yeah, what is that?
I think he's hoping they'll pour more booze from the top.
I've actually never seen that. I've seen pictures, but I've never seen that one. I'm so proud.
OK, let me ask you about this new venture of yours, Freddie, because this came as a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Lord of the Flies is the name of the show. Starts on the 13th of February. What's the deal here? What's going on here? This is you and the fish and chip van.
Yeah, well, the work's dried up, so I thought I'd do something else. I feel quite embarrassed here. He's like pushing his movie, Stephen's doing the BAFTAs. I'm talking about fish and chips.
Well, it's one of the great British institutions. Don't you be down on it.
That's what I think. I was brought up in the north of England, and like a treat meal was fish and chips.
Yeah.
We used to go to this place in Blackpool, and you sit in, and on the wall there's pictures of like all the big stars: Vera Duckworth, Jack Duckworth. From Coronation Street, there's Steve Davis and Dennis Taylor.
Wow.
And I thought, if you have a chippy, you meet these people. So I wanted to get a chippy.
Yeah.
And then recently I thought, well, what can I do? Like a chippy, I get a bit bored, stood behind a counter all day.
Yeah.
But I thought, why not get a van? and get out there and have a look.
A mobile chippy?
Yeah, that mobile chippy. It's an R-Reg taxi at the front and a kitchen at the back.
Pretty good. And did you enjoy the fish and chip sort of making and selling experience?
I loved it. I really did. We travelled around, went to Scotland, Northern Ireland, Lancashire, Yorkshire, meeting people. Went to Western Supermare, and like it's an older generation in Western Supermare.
Yeah.
This elder lady came up to the counter, and she says, "Oh, Freddie, you know, cricket didn't work out, but you know we'll support you doing this, you poor lad." Saying, "Can you not do Splash or The Jungle?"
OK. Let's have a quick look. This is Freddie in action. It starts next Friday on Sky 1 at 8 p.m. This is Lord of the Flies.
Lancashire fish and chips in Yorkshire.
Lancashire lad in Yorkshire as well.
I know, yeah, I'm roughing it.
Freddie's delaying tactics with the restless Yorkshire crowd seem to be working, just about.
Have you sent the boss for a bit of tartar sauce as well?
I think you're what he's known as a tricky customer, aren't you?
No, not at my age. No. Are you going to serve?
I don't know how to do it, you.
No,
Trial and error, Rob.
Right then, fish and chips.
Get rid of him.
I'm hungry now. I love fish and chips. It's hard to keep the weight off on fish and chips, though. You can't have been eating too much yourself.
Well, I never had a full portion, but I was constantly just eating.
But the chips over here are very different. Have you had English chips, Kevin?
Yes, I have. I have had the chips.
There's like one
eat
English
the
chip is like 10 American chips.
No, it's very big. It's unnecessary.
Everything is in there.
Yes, it's unnecessary. But I have had one of them. I got small hands, so it's tough. I don't eat that many. Whose idea was it to put me in between the two biggest white guys? Who said Kevin can go in the middle? Like, as they talk to each other, I just keep shrinking down. I'm trying to look comfortable. I'm trying to grab my leg like you. I just look stupid. I just don't look cool. But I can't eat seafood. That's why I don't eat the fish.
You don't like seafood?
I can't eat seafood.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'll get the hives. What? Yeah. Why is everybody... Why they get so quiet? So what? Jesus Christ, what just happened? He can't eat the fish. Get him out of London now. What just happened just now?
Let me ask you a question. Is it true, Freddie, and let me just ask you this final question before we move on, and we have the lovely Felicity join us out, and we might have some fish and chips.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. So, extra cod for you, Kevin?
Well, yeah, if you want me to die, yeah, sure. I would hate to offend this fish and chips crowd. Eat the fish, Kevin!
Don't disappoint us. But, Freddie, is it true, and I can ask both of you, I'm pretty sure I know Steve's answer, but the paranormal, ghosts, the supernatural, I believe on one of your tours, you got so frightened by ghost stories, you couldn't sleep.
Yeah, I've got a bit of issue. I don't like the dark.
Yeah.
What?
No. Whoa!
Oh, what are you sleeping?
Huh?
If you say you got a nightlight, I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna punch you right now. If you tell me,
I wouldn't do that.
If you tell me that your big ass sleeps with a nightlight,
So ghosts, though, you believe in ghosts? You've seen a ghost? You've heard of ghosts?
I didn't like the dark, and then I was in Zimbabwe on one of the tours, and one of the lads was like telling ghost stories. I didn't like it. Seriously, I ended up, my mate Rob Key, he's like quite a portly fellow, he's not the most attractive, but I ended up sleeping with him because I was frightened. It was the worst thing ever, because I was quite a big lad, he was a big lad, and he was in a single bed, and I was spooning him all night. And then the next day, we slept in because I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
And I turned up...
Well, so even though you had him for comfort, still, the fear of the supernatural...
I couldn't let go of him.
You couldn't let go.
And then the next day we had a test match, and I turned up quarter of an hour late and got fined because I'd missed quarter of an hour, so it cost me about $2,000.
That must have been some ghost story.
And my respectability, yeah. The worst thing is that the lad who told the ghost story, he got fined as well for telling, like, a 25-year-old man a ghost story. It was just wrong on every level.
you're gonna get fined too, Marcus. You know Freddie's scared of ghosts. Why would you do that to Freddie? Don't nobody believe in ghosts. You know Freddie think ghosts are real.
OK, Freddie, can you stick around with us?
I'd love to, yeah.
Lord of the Flies starts Friday on Sky 1, don't miss it. Freddie will stay with us, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Freddie Flintoff. All right, we've got one more break and one more part coming up for you. And I think it'll be splendid because we have one of our finest rising movie stars joining these fellas on the couch, the fabulous Felicity Jones. So please, don't go away. you very much. Still here with Stephen Fry, Kevin Hart and Freddie Finto. But let's get my next guest out. She's up for a BAFTA and an Oscar for her extraordinary performance in The Theory of Everything. She plays Jane Hawking, the wife of Professor Stephen Hawking. Will you please welcome the wonderfully gifted Felicity Jones.
Lovely to see you.
Very nice.
Oh, there you go.
Thanks.
There you go. Wow, that's really tight. OK.
No, we're fine.
Okay.
Oh, it's cosy on here.
This feels a bit like blind date to me. I want you to ask a question to boy number one, please.
I have them all.
Wow, there you go. Hold on, gestured over that way, nothing over there.
No, this is where the screen is.
Oh, I'm not even in the game.
No, you're Scylla. You're Scylla.
I don't want to be Scylla. Why is that OK? Congratulations, getting an Oscar and a BAFTA nomination. I've been a fan of yours since many years ago. I saw you in Brideshead Revisited. That was incredible. But in The Theory of Everything, which is just a wonderful, wonderful film, to get those nominations, was that something that you can take in your stride, or do you feel the pressure, the excitement?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so nerve-wracking the last few months because we showed the film back in the first time it was ever seen. We did a premiere back in Toronto Film Festival, and we just had no idea. And I remember looking at Eddie Redmayne and James Marsh, who directed the film, and we were just so sick with nerves. We were sort of holding each other's hands.
Just didn't know how it would go down.
Because we just didn't know what to expect. And so, but now I've thought, I can't get any more nervous, you know, and now I'm just trying to enjoy it and really, really appreciate it.
I feel like that with my fish and chip show.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope it goes down well.
You're going to be at the BAFTAs, though, aren't you?
I'd imagine so.
With a nomination.
How do you hear the news? When you're nominated for an Oscar, do they call your agent, they call you, or do they call you direct? How do you hear?
Well, you're told you'll get a phone call at 5:30 a.m. And I just thought, well, I'll just sleep through it. You know, I wasn't really expecting...
That's a very inconvenient time of day to call.
Exactly, I know, and I hate getting up early anyway. Yeah. So I was like, it's fine, I'll wake up at 10 a.m. and it'll all have happened, and I'll probably be commiserating, and I'll be in my pyjamas anyway, so I can just spend the day in bed. But then I woke up at about 4 a.m., just sort of sprung up, and then I thought, what? I've got an hour and a half to sort of anxiously wait. And I thought, I don't want to stream it because that's just weird. Yeah. So I just sort of nervously waited, and then I got a phone call saying that I'd been nominated.
And what did you say back? What words spring out your mouth first?
There were no words. There was just lots of sort of hyperventilating and exclamations and screaming and jumping around in my pyjamas.
It's a wonderful performance you give. We all know the story of Professor Stephen Hawking, I hope, or know some of it. He was a gifted young physicist who discovered very early in his career that he had motor neuron, the sickness which actually eats away at the kind of many of the motor, well, I think all of the motor skills that the body has, that the brain provides.
Yes.
And of course he then deteriorates throughout the course of the film, as he has through life. I must admit, I was kind of a little reluctant to see this movie. And I don't know if you've heard it, but because the story, I know, is a sad one in some ways, and I know also it's going to be, you know, it's quite a difficult subject to engage with, so I was sort of... I don't know if you've encountered this with people.
Oh, absolutely, and we were the same. You know, we were so reverential towards the subject matter. It's a very complicated situation for anyone who has motor neuron disease to be in, and their families. And we were so in awe of Jane and Stephen, and they're incredible people, and we were sort of tiptoeing around the whole thing constantly. And then we spoke with Tim, who's Jane and Stephen's youngest son, who's such a lovely, lovely guy, so sweet-natured, and he just said to us, you know, I used to ride on Dad's wheelchair on the side. You know, I'd hang on, and he'd be whizzing around his house, and he'd be playing on it, and then I used to put swear words into Dad's voice box, and so hearing that immediately just made us relax. And find the humour in a difficult situation.
I met him, Stephen Hawking.
Hold on.
Yeah, he's a meeting of minds, let me tell you.
Yeah. You're not going to say that he stole your ideas, are you, Freddie, from the history of time?
It was at your mate Jimmy Carr's house. He went, he says, "Hi, Fredo, yes, I'm all right, thanks." He said, "You fancy doing some tequilas with Steve?" "Well, I'll do tequilas with anyone." So we went into his kitchen, and it was Stephen Hawkins. And then Jimmy said, you've heard of Freddie Flintoff, haven't you, the cricketer? And then you've got that weight, haven't you? And he was like, please say yes, please say yes. Please. He goes, yes, I have. And I was like, yes, get him.
OK, listen, OK. I'll ask for some more Stephen Hawking stories in a minute. First of all, let's have a look at a tip for this. And as I said, I was a little concerned about whether or not I would enjoy the movie, because it is a very, you know, it can be a tricky subject matter to deal with this kind of real-life story well. I thought it was a charming film. It was a surprisingly romantic film, a really beautifully romantic story, I thought. And it really moved me, and I think that's got so much to do with your performance and, of course, Eddie's. Have a look at this. If you haven't seen it already, I'm sure you will love it, but this is the theory of everything.
You see how the men's shirt fronts and the bow ties, how they glow more than the women's dresses?
Yes.
Do you know why?
Why?
Tide.
The washing powder.
The fluorescence in the washing powder is caught by the UV light.
Why do you know that?
When stars are born and when they die, they emit UV radiation. So if we could see the night sky in the ultraviolet light, then almost all the stars would disappear, and all that we would see are these spectacular births and deaths. I reckon it would look a little
like that.
That's a lovely scene as well. A lovely moment. So, listen, what I was going to do was, in honour of Freddie's show, I thought I might give... We were going to give some fish and chips. We decided against that because we don't want to kill Kevin. So we decided that there's a cocktail made at an upmarket fish and chip shop, which I thought you might like trying. I won't make one for Freddie because he's on the wagon, and that would be very wrong of me. But it's a dirty martini made with some ingredients from the fish and chip shop. And now, you might not have encountered... Have you encountered a pickled onion, Kevin?
I'm gonna say I'm black. No, I haven't.
Have you encountered a gherkin?
Oh, yeah. No, I have not, guys.
Oh, hold it, that's way too much of that. Is that the vermouth?
Are you measuring this? You just judged it by hand.
So that goes in there, okay. That's that. And then I get too big a measure. And this is the gin going in.
I know what gin is.
Yeah.
I know that.
Put loads of
wow. All right.
Oh,
well,
great.
Maybe. Okay. Wait, no.
Whoa. Okay, that goes in. And then this is the pièce de résistance. We take the gherkin liquid. I'm just going to get...
Oh, wow.
You take the vinegar.
I'm sorry. Is that...
Look at that.
I'm going to mix them up nice for you. Don't you worry about that.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Tom Cruise. Yeah, come on. Okay. And then... Sorry, Fred, I'm not going to give you one because I don't want to...
No, it's fine.
You want to start back up with me?
I'm toying with it. But no.
That would be a good night out. I'd like to see the two of you getting on a double-decker bus together at about 5 in the morning.
The first thing I would do is cut out the lights wherever we go.
OK, so I'm going to garnish them up. You know you want to have that on there. Now, would you pass... So it's an onion and a little gherkin there. Yeah, pass it down to Stephen. Smells good, doesn't it?
Good.
That one is for you, Felicity.
Well.
Oh.
This one is for you, Kevin.
Wait a minute. Why is mine in 3D?
There you go.
Well,
can you make it bigger?
Because you are small. That does look bigger in your hands.
This is very huge.
So you're very good health. And thank you all as well for watching. Here we go. Let's go.
That's actually really good.
Thanks to all my guests tonight. Will you please say thank you to Stephen Fry, Kevin Hart, Freddie Flintoff, and of course Felicity Jones. Tune in next week. I'll be joined by Anton Deck. Goldie Hawn will be here. Alan Davis, and there'll be music and chat from Diana Crowell. So we'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend and good luck at the BAFTAs. Good night, everybody.
That's how we start.